Hey, year 3 and 4. So I hope you're all enjoying the Alchemist letter task that we've been working on. I bet you've all been really missing your chances to write some good imaginative description. I think this film is a really great opportunity to ignite our imaginations and do a really brilliant setting description. So I'm going to show you my model, right? So we know we have to pretend that Viridian has just left and we've gone sometime after he's left, and we've been tempted to look inside the door as well, the cottage door as well, to see what's inside. We need to make sure we use expanded noun phrases for detail. We need to make sure we use fronted adverbials, short sentences for effect, some compound adjectives where they're joined with a hyphen, and also our challenge is to use coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. So let's have a go. Now, it's already happened in the day, so I'm going to start with later that day as my fronted adverbial to start us off. So later that day, how was he? He was strolling through the woods. I was strolling carefree through the woods. I was strolling carefree through the woods, comma, oh, I'm going to get a subordinating conjunction in there when, which is also a relative pronoun, when I spied the door of the cottage. It was still open. Oh, I'm going to keep that as a nice punchy sentence. It was still open. How would that feel if you noticed the door was still open and you knew what was inside? Now, how am I going to describe the door? I'm going to say it's a bit like, I don't know if you've seen Lord of the Rings, but the Hobbit doors are very intricately carved. So I'm going to go for the intricately carved as my adjective. Intricately carved wooden door swang temptingly. I'm going to go for temptingly as my adverb because it makes you think he wants to go inside. Temptingly in the, what adjective shall I use for the wind? Gentle wind. In the gentle wind. I'm going to use a rhetorical question so we can get an insight into our reader's mind. Dare I enter? Now, he's not going to hesitate because he's kind of quite a brave, kind of adventurous, mischievous person. So I'm going to say, without a moment's hesitation, as my fronted adverbial. You could say quickly or very slowly, depending on your character's personality. Without a moment's hesitation, I'm going to add a non-finite clause in there, and quivering slightly with excitement. Maybe if your character isn't so brave, maybe they'd be shaking slightly with fear, or my heart pounding in fright. And how does he walk towards the door? I'm going to say a little rodent. When they walk, they scamper, don't they? So I'm going to go for, I scampered towards the door and let myself in. Maybe your character is a rodent. I don't know. But my character is just a kind of mischievous person. So if he was an animal, maybe he'd be a mouse. So maybe he scampers. Okay, that was the outside for my setting description. Now I'm going to go inside. So I'm going to start a new paragraph and indent my paragraph. Now I want this to be really punchy. The memory machine is still there. So I'm just going to say, it was still there. Makes it sound quite ominous, doesn't it? It was still there. The memory machine itself gave off now when we think of a setting description, we need to think of what it looks like, what it sounds like, maybe even what it smells like, what it feels like. So I'm going to go for the memory machine itself gave off and I always think it's almost like it's from another planet. So I'm going to go for otherworldly glow. Like it's so glowing so much, it's almost like it comes from another planet. That's my compound adjective I'm really proud of. The memory machine itself gave off an otherworldly glow. And if it was giving off this glow, you'd be looking at it really hard, wouldn't you? Now, I'm going to level up looking. I'm going to say transfixed. When you are transfixed by something, you can't take your eyes off it. And I was completely transfixed by this. Oh, I'm going to change it to totally transfixed. Nice bit of alliteration. Totally transfixed by it. Oh, by the sight of it. And I've also used a coordinating conjunction and to join my two simple sentences. And I was totally transfixed by the sight of it. Now, what kind of sound would it make? What kind of sound would it make? Whirring. Mechanically is my adverb. It began to create new images. Now, I'm going to think of a simile that makes images. What kind of things make images? TVs, phones. I'm thinking a more magical thing is a kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscopes that make lots of different patterns and colors. So I'm going to say, like some kind of magical kaleidoscope. I'm not totally sure on my spelling of that, but I'm going to wait to the end on that one because it's not that important that I spell that correctly now. I'm in the midst of my writing. Oh, what tells me it's a simile? Like some kind of magical kaleidoscope. This time, now do you remember there was the egg which gave birth to the person? What words could I use to describe the egg? I'm going to say warm. What color is it? It's always like a honey color. So I'm going to go for honey colored egg. Cracked open to reveal. Da, da, da. Now, which features have I used? Have I used expanded noun phrases? Yes, I've got my noun for door and then my adjectives intricately carved. Wooden. Have I used short sentences for effect? Yes. Dare I enter? It was still there. Have I used compound adjectives? Yes. Join with a hyphen, intricately carved. Honey-coloured. Have I used some coordinating conjunctions as my challenge? Yes. Without a moment's hesitation and quivering slightly with excitement, I scampered towards the door and let myself in. The memory machine itself gave off an otherworldly glow, and I was totally transfixed by the sight of it. Oh, did I use any subordinating sentences? Let's have a look. Later that day, I was strolling carefree through the woods when I spied the door of the cottage. Yes. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm really excited to read your stories, guys. So I hope you're up to the challenge. Have fun. Take care.